Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video today. If this is your first time here, welcome to the family. I upload 2 times a week, every Wednesdays and every Fridays, and eventually we will have a bonus Saturday coming up with some fun exclusive content just for you guys. So today we're going to have a little bit of a ghost story, so sit back and relax, grab your tea, and let's talk about black-eyed children. Ooh. So you can't really turn on the news or anything in the world right now without hearing something dark and evil. And there is a lot of dark and evil things going on right now. But what if we have a form that we actually have to be afraid of? What if there is something actually out there in the world that is scary and can harm you, but comes from a different plane of existence? That's what some people think that black-eyed children are. In the last few years, stories about them have grown and grown, but the term black-eyed children has only been around since 1996. I did an extensive research about this and had put it on my blog, which I will link in the description so you can take a look at my blog. There is a man named Brian Bethel who wrote a short story with the term black-eyed children that he coined the phrase in a science fiction magazine. Now, of course, many people can say, obviously this is a fake story, obviously it's fiction, but just because the term has been only phrased since 1996 doesn't mean that the legend started there. There are many, many different cultures that believe in something like a shapeshifter or something like a form of evil that can take the appearance of anybody, especially children. And what are people going to notice more often than not? An adult or a child that seems like they need your help. So, a black-eyed child is described as a kid between the ages of 6 to possibly 14, but that would be pushing it. It's usually a pre-teen age person or someone who was a very young teenager. They are male and female. They have extremely pale skin, which most people probably wouldn't look twice at, but the unsettling feeling that accompanies them, and the fact that their eyes are completely void of anything else but the color black, makes you think that you are staring into evil itself. So, the stories of black-eyed children usually start with a kid being out of place. For example, a kid being on the side of a road in the middle of a night with nobody else around, trying to flag you down, asking for help. Or a kid in the hallway of your apartment pounding on your door asking for you to let them in. Why would there be a kid randomly there? It just seems like these kids show up in just completely out of place situations, both in the day and in the night. Of course, you hear more about the nighttime stories. One of the most popular legends is a man driving a dark road, country road in the middle of the night, getting from one place to another, nowhere special. And his headlights catch a glimpse of a very small blonde boy, kind of hunched over and hiding. And the man stops and rolls down his window just a little bit. A little boy comes up to the window and says, please, sir, I need to get in your car. I'm scared. The man asks, where are you going? Please, sir, let me in your car. Where are your parents? Where do you live? I don't know, sir. I don't know. I'm scared. Please, let me in your car. You let me in your car? Maybe we can find them. Please, sir, let me in your car. So the man thinks about it for a moment, and then all of a sudden gets this terrifying feeling when he really looks at the boy and realizes that his eyes are full of black. The pupil is the full size of the eye, and it's nothing but the color black. Terrified, the man doesn't know what to do. He sees a pleading child on the side of the road who is begging for help. He shouldn't be out here. Where's his family? He could be in danger. What's going on here? But then the feeling he had in his gut was so frightening to him that he couldn't bring himself to roll down the window or to unlock the door. Instead of letting that boy in, he quickly hit the gas and drove away. The next day, he would speak about this in the local diner, and several of the customers there would say, "Oh, you saw him." "Saw who?" he would ask. "You saw the black-eyed boy. It was a good thing that you drove away. He wasn't looking for a ride home. In fact, he wasn't looking for anything except you. But be wary, because he'll show up again. And again. And again, trying to get you to let him in. Don't let him fool you, because he'll continue to beg you and try to wear you down. Eventually he'll go away, but if you let him in, God help you." The man thought, what a crazy tale from this small town. It's just an urban legend. Of course, something silly like that never happened. You know what? That whole incident probably didn't even happen last night either. I was really tired. I might have hallucinated. Maybe I had a little bit too much to drink before I left. But there's no way there would be a 6-year-old boy on the side of a road in the middle of nowhere asking for help. If that happened, of course I would have given this kid a ride. We would have gone to the police station. We would have found his parents. None of this happened. So the man goes about his life. Years pass. But the boy shows up again, outside of his apartment. He looked the same as he did a few years ago. He still looked like a 6-year-old boy. Knocks on the door of his apartment in broad daylight. "Sir, please let me in. Please let me in, sir. Please, I'm scared. I still haven't found my family. Please help me, sir. Let me in." Again, the man is terrified, beyond recognition, terrified. A feeling beyond fear comes over him when he sees this child. But this time he doesn't listen to his gut and he opens the door. "Please, sir, can I come in?" The man invites the boy in. But the boy isn't alone. As soon as the boy enters the room, several more children, all looking just like him, with black eyes and long blonde hair and pale skin, enter the room. They terrorize this man. They make him feel fears that he couldn't even express. Eventually, he was driven mad and clawed his own eyes out. He didn't want to see them anymore, but they were still there. He would end up in an institution. And for the rest of his life, he swore that those children were surrounding him. And every once in a while, the security would get a clip, just an image of a black-eyed child with him in the room. But when he went to investigate, there would be nobody there. It's just one of the many urban legends about a black-eyed child. Go back to talking about black-eyed children possibly being shapeshifters. Part of an urban legend is a kernel of truth, whether that be the people who were actually involved in the story or the fact that it's a warning to people. There are many cultures out there that believe that beings can shapeshift into humans, into animals, into entities. And it's terrifying. Sometimes we think that we know someone, but it turns out we don't know them at all, because they have been someone else the whole time. Part of this urban legend is a warning to be careful who you trust. It also is a lesson to realize that children are often used in dark games. It's very, very hard not to trust or want to help a child. That is an instinct of most people. And seeing a kid between the ages of 6 and 14, people are more likely to help them. As older as they get, once they hit past a certain age, teenage years, most people aren't willing to help or even worry about these kids because they are too old. They are out on their own. They're fine. But seeing a 6, 7, 8-year-old or hearing them, you're going to pay attention to that, especially if they're asking for help. There are too many stories out there in the world that have childhood kids being used as bait. And just a tiny bit of a trigger warning, this could be scary, but I'm not going into any details. I'm just going to give you a list of things. But if anything like this upsets you, it's a good time to exit. You know, this is an urban legend, but there's truth to every bit of legend out there. There are many kids that are used for simple things. There are kids that pickpocket, and whatever they can pickpocket, they bring it back to their families, and that's how they survive. Little kids are fast. Little kids have tiny hands, and little kids aren't necessarily going to be noticed in a crowd, or if they bump into, you don't really notice. You just kind of forgive them because they're being klutzy children. Not, oh, that kid just robbed me. Kids have been used with their voices without even being there. There have been recordings of babies crying to lure women out of their homes or their cars because women are more likely to go check on a child, especially hearing a child crying at a time and place where it shouldn't be happening. It's an instinct of a lot of mothers and females out there, but yes, it's mostly women, but men have that instinct too, but they're more likely to lure out a female using a baby's cry. Of course, kids are used in many other terrible things, and that's not for this video to go into details about, but I highly recommend that you check out Thorn to learn more. I will link them in the description box. THORN, thorn.org. I will link that in the description. I think the lesson here is twofold. Be careful when you are approached with a stranger, even if they're young. Not everything is what it seems to be. And listen to your instincts. Even though you might see with your eyes a situation that looks like it could be a pretty cut and dry thing where there's a missing child and screaming for help and screaming for your attention, listen to what your gut is telling you. Even if it's saying, I don't know why, but I feel like there's something wrong here. It's important to listen to those things. The thing is, you can always call the police. Most part, depending on where you are. You know, if you're out in the rural areas of the world, you may not be able to, but for the most part, you're able to call the police. It's probably the best thing to do, but you have to be extremely cautious with children being used as bait. And trust me, those children don't want to be bait. Usually there's a much greater danger lurking behind those kids who are being used as bait. So if you have that feeling, be cautious. If things just aren't quite gelling or seeming like they should, use your logic. Of course, nobody really knows if the story of the black-eyed children are true. And yes, we can follow the phrase back to 1996 to a certain story by Mr. Bethel. But does it mean that it's fiction? Does it mean all of these wild and crazy stories are just that and entertaining? Or is there something really sinister going on? You see, we know relatively nothing about the world. We believe things, we think them, but knowing is completely different. You have to experience something with all of your senses to actually know it firsthand. At that point, if you haven't, then you just believe. We believe so much about the world. We believe within the limitations that we think we have. We know a speck of dust of information in infinity. It's really, really vain to believe or to think for a moment that we know anything about the world, the universe, or the secrets that are hidden. That's why I like my little dress so much, because I have my planets, and that's why I like my necklace so much, because it's a planet. I like that all of the knowledge isn't handed to us, and there's an incalculable amount of possibilities out there. But for this possibility of running into a black-eyed kid, I think I'd like to skip it. What do you think? Do you think the black-eyed children's story is real? Do you think it's just a modern twist on an urban legend? Have any of you experienced seeing a black-eyed child? Leave your comments in the description below and let me know. The comments in the comment box. In the meantime, I hope you guys have a great day. Before I hop off here, all of my jewelry is done by my friend Melissa Blue Delish. Not a sponsor, I just love her. And like I was showing you, this pretty necklace and my pretty bracelet with a firefly on there. And I do have an affiliate program with Dress Lily, which is where this pretty dress has come from, and I will put that in the description box, as well as where you can find jewelry that's handmade with love and beauty and happiness, and I will put that in the description. So until I see you later, remember that every single day that you have is a gift. Use your time wisely. All right, until next time, I will see you guys later. Bye.